All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do set 67 on radical denominators. So before we get into actually the radical denominators, let's talk about conjugates. So in this original thing, we have 7 minus the square root of 5. The conjugate is 7 plus square root of 5. If we have negative 8 plus square root of 6, the conjugate is negative 8 minus square root of 6. We could also do this with other ones. So 5 minus 3d, the conjugate's 5 plus 3d. And x plus y, and the conjugate is x minus y. Well, what is conjugate? Conjugate is that middle sign is just different. Notice none of the other signs change. So if we had a negative 8, we still had that negative 8 in the next one, okay? So we're going to use conjugates here. So let's see why we would need a conjugate. Let's multiply these two conjugates together. And you can use box method or FOIL, and I'm just going to do FOIL. So 7 times 7 gives me 49. 7 times the square root of 5, we get 7 square root of 5. And to our insides, we get negative 7 square root of 5. And then our outsides, we get negative square root of 25. Well, notice our two middle terms are going to cancel because they are opposites. And the square root of 25 is 5. So I get 49 minus 5, so 44 is my answer. Well, what happened when I multiplied the conjugates? When you multiply by conjugates, the two middle terms disappear. And this is important when we're dealing with square roots because my last square root is going to be a perfect root, so it can go to just a real number. And my middle terms are gone, so I no longer have square roots. And here is why it's important. Oh, we'll skip that one. Here's why it's important. We can't have a radical left in my denominator, so we need to get rid of it. Well, in problems before, when we had something like 4 square root of 5, we would just multiply by the square root of 5 because we'd get square root of 25 in my denominator, and then it would turn into 5. Well, here, if we just multiply by square root of 5, you have to multiply it to both parts, and we get negative 2 square root of 5 plus square root of 25, which is fine that this one will end up being 5, but we still have the square root in the denominator in the first term now. So that is why we're going to multiply by conjugates, because it's going to get rid of that term. But if we multiply it on the denominator, we have to multiply it on the numerator. Now, it's okay to have it radical in your numerator. That doesn't matter. So I'm just going to multiply 4 by both of those. So we get negative 8 minus 4 square root of 5. Remember, you can only multiply things that are under the radicals by other things under the radicals. So we get negative 4. Our middle two terms are going to cancel, so I don't even need to do those. I just need to do my first and my last terms. So I get negative square root of 25. So let's go ahead and simplify. My numerator is going to stay the same. I cannot take the 8 minus the 4 because the square root of 5 is attached to that 4. Okay, this here is going to turn into a 5. So I have negative 4 minus 5. That's going to give me a negative 9 on the denominator. So negative 8 minus 4 square root of 5 over a negative 9. Before you say, yep, that's my answer, we always want to check and see if there's anything we can simplify. And actually, we would simplify all those negatives. You wouldn't want to really leave a negative in the denominator and the numerator. So we have 8 plus 4 square root of 5 over 9. 8, 4, and 9 I can't simplify. So that's my answer. Okay, just kidding. Most of that's right. We have one tweak to do. We're going to go back to up here. Hold on. Okay, so negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. So we have this on the top still. My denominator is 4 minus 5. There we go. We get 8 minus 4 square root of 5 in the numerator, and we get negative 1 in the denominator. So my negative 1 in my denominator, and my negatives are going to change. So I get 8 plus 4 square root of 5. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, let's try the next one. So here we have 2 square roots in the denominator, and that's just fine. We're still going to only change my sign in front of the second term. All right, so my numerator, the 4 and the negative 3 are going to be what's multiplied because they're outside the radical. Negative 3 times a negative turns into a plus 3 square root of 2. All right, So we only need to do our first two terms. So 4 times 4 gives me a 16 square root of 9. And my last two gives me a negative square root of 4. All right, so both of these radicals are going to disappear in my denominator. So I have negative 12 square root of 3 plus 3 square root of 2 over. Now this turns into a 3, so we get 16 times 3. Let's see, come on marker, 16 times 3. All right, hold on there. All right, there's our 16 times 3, and then we get our minus 2, square root of 4 is 2. Okay, 16 times 3 gives me 48, and I get 48 minus 2, so we get a 46. So negative 12 square root of 3 plus 3 over 2 over 46. Then you look at our 3, 46, and negative 12. See if we can simplify. And so 12 and 3 would both go to simplify by 3, but 46 does not. So then we're going to leave our answer with 12 square root of 3 plus 3 square root of 2, and I cannot combine those because they don't have similar radicals, over 46. All right, so let's move on to our last problem. We're going to multiply again by the conjugate. So here, 3 square root of 5 plus 3. 3 square root of 5 plus 3. All right, so 2 times the 3 on the outside, square root of 5 plus 6 over. Remember, we only have to do our first and our last terms, so we get 9 square root of 25. And I know some of you are going to just jump right to 5 with that, and that's okay. I'm just going to be showing it out. Okay, minus 9. So 6 square root of 5 plus 6 over. So 9 times 25, it gives me a 45. Minus 9. 6 square root of 5 plus 6 over 45 minus 9 gives me a 36. Then I ask you to look at your numbers there. Is there something I can simplify by? Yeah, I can simplify by 6 in all of those. So I get square root of 5 plus 1 over 6. There you have it.